what we're looking to do is help you identify the spouse initially. That's our main goal. The reason for that is a lot of plans are written looking for the spouse. So our main focus is to try to provide some information about the spouse, whether they're married or divorced, what this person's name was, their date of birth, their location, and as many as we can find. We've had I know we've done at least 5 marriage and divorces for somebody, but we will look for all marriage and divorces, not the most recent or not just one. We'll look for all of them. After that, we'll look for any first-degree relative we can find. We define first-degree relative as any parent, sibling, or child, as well as spouse. When we're looking at the same information we would as a spouse, name, date of birth, location. I should also say phone number for each as well. So, their name and their contact information so that you can reach out to them if need be for any information. As our stats show here, 80% of the time we'll give you an answer on the spouse, whether they're married or not, or never married. And then at least 95% of the time, we'll find at least one first-degree relative. What we might not do is find all first-degree relatives. We don't want to guess if we don't have their accurate location and phone number for them. So we might not list all the people that are possible, but we want to give you as many as we can find. Lindsay also mentioned other people that we could find. From time to time, we also come across people that may not be first-degree relatives, but might have some sort of connection, whether it's a lifelong friend or a power of attorney or an estate attorney or somebody like that. It could even be a cousin or somebody. That information could be provided to you as well. Might not be as impactful, but sometimes you never know. And in the example Lindsay shared, it was actually really impactful. So we'll try to provide as many of them up to, we can give up to 15 of those, relatives. As I mentioned, we have a team of experts been doing this for years, tens of thousands of them. Each person's reviewed. We have a reviewer and then a quality control check on that. So we really want to make sure that all the data that we can find, we can provide to you. It can be tricky, and it can get into the details and certainly family relationships and understanding, who's actually related to this person. So we do a really thorough job in making sure we understand the relationships. As we mentioned here, we have a proprietary database of obituaries and other sources that we've been using for years and constantly updating to make sure we have the most accurate information. And then in step 3, we won't just and I'll talk about it on the next slide. We won't just pull back the obituary, but we'll look for marriage and divorce records to the extent we can find it, death records, any other source we can use. We try to find as many sources as necessary to ensure that we have the proper and updated information sent over to you. Jack, you can go to the next slide. A little bit about the reporting. We actually provide the report in 2 formats. Here we're showing you the PDF version. It's typically a 2-page document. We also have an Excel version. The PDF version is all the information that we have. We want to be transparent, so any information we can find, we're sending it to you. We will give you a full summary on the person you provided to us. Most people are deceased, but we want to make sure that we can confirm their name, their address, their social, date of birth, any locations they might have, as well as their date of death. If they aren't a known, somebody that's known deceased, we will also provide that back to you. And then how we found out their death, whether it's in the death record of state or DMF hit, and in in an obituary as well. So you get the full obituary, you get the full URL link to that obituary, the sources where we found the death as well. And if you go back to the bottom left of this, you'll see all the relatives here, their relationship, their name, their address, their phone number, their date of birth, and age as well. And then in the upper right, you'll see marriage and divorce record. Who is married or divorced, the date, the state that we found it. If we have the filing number as well, we'll provide that to you. And as many as possible will be listed here. On the Excel, it's similar to this information. It's all on one line and written across, and the goal there is to allow you to quickly and easily take this information and put it into your system. PDF version, if you had to kind of take that and recreate that, would be time consuming. The Excel version is supposed to be similar information, just in a different format, to allow you to easily put it into your database or system to action off of that. We're trying to be as complete and as thorough as possible. On the Excel, we will split it up based on the spousal relationship. So again, it's easy for you to see how many you found in any one opportunity. And we also provide a one-pager that kind of quickly summarizes our information, which is really helpful for clients that provide us 20, 50, 100, 1,000, 2,000 people requests. They find that one-page summary on how we did on the number of spouses we found, the number of marriage records, how many spouses were deceased, how many spouses were alive, how many people were not married, those sorts of things. You'll get at the end of a report as well. So things you can have for regulators with the PDF document, things the Excel file, quickly and easily you can add it into your system. And we're also always available for comments, questions, or thoughts on any report. Reports are done. Most of our reports are done, within a week. It depends on file size, but the majority of the requests are, relatively small, anything under 10 records, and we usually turn them around in a week or so. Really large files, ones over 100, over 1,000. We talk with the client on what their deliverable date is needed, and how many they need at any one given time, as most clients aren't able to handle too much at any one given time. So we want to make sure that we are providing this information to them in a cadence that allows them to action the results. But that's the update on kind of the process and the reporting aspect of it. I'll pass it back to Lindsay.
Great. Before we dive into the use cases,
sure.
Situation, I have a question for both of you here. In your professional experience with this BeneSearch solution and what you've seen out there, what, in your opinion, is the best time to run BeneSearch from a just a general timing standpoint?
Sure, Lindsay, if you want to take that one.
Sure. Yeah, we find the best timing to retrieve information on a relative is as close to the date of death of that participant as possible. A large source of information that we're getting is some commercial database sources. When somebody has passed away, the information that gets put into sources like that will soon fall out the older there is, because they're not using things like a social security number that feeds into source databases and sources like that. So really, if there is a benefit that's due to a beneficiary, as close to that date of death, like I said, as possible. It doesn't mean that it has to be that year, right? But we typically find, I'll let my guy fact check me, but usually, between 5 and 10 years, we'll probably have information on there. Much after 10 years is kind of when we start seeing it drop out, and it's really hard to, identify as many relatives as we possibly can. Not saying that we can't identify any relatives, right? But when we talk about how robust this report is, and we can report up to 15 relatives in there, you'll start noticing that kind of decrease after that 10-year period. And we want to give you the most success, right? We try to give you enough information that you possibly have to, make these connections and find the person that you're looking for.
Yeah, I would agree with that. After 10 years data, in that 5-10 year range, data can sometimes, start falling off, and you start missing some connection. You might not have missed originally. And plus, the sooner we can get this turned around to, the sooner you can get the benefit out to the person that needs it, right? Because that's what this is all about, right? Helping people that have benefits due to them, get them the benefit and allow that to impact their lives.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And then Lindsay, I'll pass it back to you to talk about some use cases.
Yeah, and so there's certainly a number of different reasons of, why benefits are due to a beneficiary that we have listed out here. But I think it's important to think about like why our clients utilize BeneSearch. And we formulate a lot of our services around DOL best practices. It's always on the top of people's minds. What do they need to do? What should that search effort look like? When is it enough, right? So we focus a lot and put a lot of emphasis on that, not only with this BeneSearch product, but with a lot of our locate and a couple other services as well. But I think it's important when we talk about best practices is things that you should be thinking about is one of the things listed is using online search tools, right, which is built into BeneSearch. Obviously using kind of a paid locator service like us, right? So we have access to a lot of different data sources that we use to pull into our services that we provide. There's best practices as, communication type methods with, sending out mailings or making phone calls. That's why we kind of provide that information in these BeneSearch reports. We're trying to give you everything that you need to make direct contact with these possible beneficiaries as you can. Making sure that you have, a death audit process. We not only have that as a standalone product, but we look for and confirm, as Mike already said, death information through the BeneSearch, not only for the participant, but we're able to pull in some death information for the spouse as well. And then there's other things that are not technically built in right into BeneSearch, but other things to think about as far as like sending certified mail or mailings in general, which you could always, with the information that we're providing you through the BeneSearch, you can certainly turn around and send out that kind of sort of communication if needed. But what we're really trying to do is we're trying to streamline a process for our clients. I had mentioned kind of in the beginning before, there's two common problems or challenges, shall I say in a better term, when we have talked to clients that are looking for beneficiaries is not having any information at all and having outdated information. And that's really what we're trying to solve with BeneSearch. We're trying to make it easy for you when you see yourself fall into those two categories, giving you a really great service that is going to give you all the answers that kind of really guide you into the next steps and making communication with the right people, which is obviously a challenge in the industry.